Okay, the students, then today we will proceed for the time series analysis. It is also one of the part in statistical analysis process in the research methodology. So as per the name suggest, time series analysis means the data is based upon the series. That means the data is based upon the time basis, and it is also based upon the series wise. So that's why the name indicates as a time series analysis. So it is a statistical techniques deals with the time series data. Suppose take an example, we consider the 2010 to 2020 in the of year to predict the what is the capital market uh, perception toward the investment by the investors perception point of view. So in this case the time is based upon the 2010 to 2020. So it is a time series or that is called a trend analysis. The time series data means the data is a series of a particular time period or in a interval. So this is the most important concept here in the related to the time series analysis. Means the series of a particular time period, that means the data is based upon particular time period base or in a interval base. This is called a time series analysis. The टाइम सीरीज एनालिसिस कंप्राइज द मेथड ऑफ एनालिसिस ऑफ द टाइम सीरीज डाटा. जब हम एनालिसिस करने के लिए जाएंगे, द एनालिसिस इज बेस्ड अपॉन द पर्टिकुलर सीरीज ऑफ द डाटा और a particular series of interval that data is based. Then again the question is why we can go for the time series data. Now time series data basically forecasting the use of model to predict the future value based upon the previous observed value. That means the data basically find out the or predict the future value of the series or the time series basically forecast or to predict the future value of the observation or of the series of the data. And use quantitative data of the variable under the study is based. Basically, data is based upon the quantitative data of the variable under the study of the observation. That means the data is based upon the quantitative, not in qualitative. So overall हम जाएंगे तो concept is the time series data basically is a series of a particular time period. Second thing is that it is predict the future value of the observation. Then third is it is a based upon the quantitative data, not in the qualitative information. Then basically then second thing is that what is the utility of the time series. Utility of the time series. हाँ सर. मैं देखूंगा, होगा सर. मेरा क्लास चल रहा है, मैं आफ्टर द क्लास आई विल डिस्कस. हाँ हाँ. Hello. So then we can go for the what is the utility of the time series analysis. And the time series analysis consists of the statistical data which are collected and recorded over successive increments. That means the time series data basically used or basically implement at the time of collection recorded over the successive increment. When the quantitative data, that means the time series data basically based upon the quantitative data arrangement orders, and it is a quantitative means it is based upon the quantitative data information in a series. So that's why result is called a statistical series called a time series. Quantitative data means quantitative series mein it is the best, and in a series or in a interval basis this is called an time series data or time series analysis of the data. And basically it is helpful, it helps in understanding past behavior of the variable Then it facilitates the forecasting the future behavior, no doubt. Then it help the planning future course of action. Then as you know overall, then if somebody ask the question, what is the main objectives or main purpose of the time series data? Time series data basically based upon the evaluation or predict the uh, series of interval in a statistical, use the statistical data or use the statistical analysis. We have to go for analysis. So this is the main objectives of the time series data. Then second thing, this is the mathematical part. Whenever we calculate the time series data, it is based upon some of the components. Basically it is called D components. क्या क्या है ना, किसका ऊपर बेस करेगा ना? First trend, it is donated or it is marking as a T. Cyclical, it is marking as a C. Then seasonal marking as a S, and irregular marking as the I. As per these variables, we have to calculate the time series analysis. And whenever we go for the calculation, it is basically calculated in the two types. It is based upon the two models or two methods. One is activity model, another that means multiplicative method of analysis. That's the two method of the analysis in the time series analysis. Then to adopt these methods, we have to based upon these variables. One is trend, cyclical, seasonal, irregular. These are the variables taken into consideration whenever we go for the analysis of the time series. First is additive. So as per the name suggests, additive means it is the addition wise. So y is equal to t plus s plus c plus I. So this is called as a methods to find out the value in the series. So this is that's why it is called, it is based upon the different variables, and these different variables calculate these additive methods. Then when same concept, whenever we can go for the multiplication. So as per the name suggests multiplication, it is only to multiply over it, t into s into c into I, or nothing. So you must have to remember before we calculate these models, then you must have to know that what is the variables. So these are the variables taken into consideration, T, C, S, I. So these variables are taken for the consideration of these models. Thank you, Chalchi Sethi. And I was sharing that जो coordinate न थे वो कटी जाती था नहीं. Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Yes, sir. Visible? Is the presentation is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we can go for the use the formula to find out the analysis or to find out the trend in the time series. So as you know that the method basically used to measure the time series analysis is the freehand methods and the methods of the least square. The freehand methods kya hai? Then we can go for the 2 to 9 page of your study material. You see over here, it's very easy and easy to remember also. It's nothing. If you go for the find out this graph, then you can know that what is the freehand methods. Then you see over here, this data is a time series data. This is the number of years, 94, 95, 96, 97 is the number of years, and this is the number of food grain produced in the different years. Then whenever we go for the present over here, you see this is the data. These are the 35, 45, 40. These are the data in the graph, and you see this is the increasing in mode in the series. So इसलिए this is called as a trend line, or this is a time series line is a increasing in mode, and this is the original data given in the question. So this is, that means this is called as a freehand methods and presented in a graph. There is no mathematical formula to find out this. This is only presented through the graph, and we have to show the what is the trend. Now you see increasing, decreasing, then again increasing, then again decreasing, then again increasing, then decreasing. So the trend is increasing, decreasing, increasing, decreasing. And if you go for the look after this diagram, this is a in a that means the trend is in a continuous process. Then sometime it is the increase and decrease. So this type of analysis basically called as a freehand methods. Then again we can go for the method. Now
Sir, your voice is
in the
not
list,
coming. I mean, it's breaking. It's sometimes coming in, sometimes it's not coming.
the line is up and down. Now is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we discussed in the least square method. As you know that the least square method is called a straight line method. In the previous class, we have already discussed regarding the linear regression model. As you know that linear regression means the series of the data in a continuous mode. That means in a continuous, in a straight line process. So as for this linear regression model, you know the model. In the previous class, we have discussed all regarding the then you see what is given over here. Now these are the number of years, and this is the cells value. Whenever find out this model at the time series,
Excuse me, sir.
then we can analysis. Sorry,
Excuse me, sir.
tell me.
Can you give me the
Hmm.
recording for yesterday class? I'm not able to attend the class for yesterday.
Okay,
Okay,
after
okay.
the
Thank
finish
you,
the class,
sir.
I will share. So time series data, the series is given 1998 to 2004, and this is the sales figure. We have find out the time series analysis by the least square method, or this is called a simple regression model. As the regression model, you already know that this is the formula. Then in this formula, 7 and 4.8, and it is a straight line equation as a only to
Sir, again, your voice is
see
not
over here.
coming.
Okay, just a minute. Hello. statistical method,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
time
Now
series
it's
data in a regular interval. Okay. And suppose somebody asks the question, why you go for the time series analysis? Now, because if we study the time series analysis, we basically forecast or we basically predict the future value of the series or to the future value of the observations. And the time series data basically based upon the quantitative, that quantitative
Sir, your voice is not clear.
क्या करेंगे
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. सर का नेट में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है.
हाँ, आवाज नहीं आ रही है सर की.
Excuse- Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Can you repeat least square method once again?
Hello. Students, my voice is audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Students, my
Yes,
voice is
sir.
my voice is audible
Yes,
now.
sir.
Yes, sir. Now it is
Okay.
audible.
Okay.
Sir,
Then we'll be
excuse
fine.
me, sir.
Now we can.
Sir, can you repeat least
Tell
square
me.
method once again?
Okay. Okay. I'll go. I go for the detail conceptual for about the time series analysis.
Yes, sir.
First, you know that the time series analysis is basically techniques to analysis the series of particular time. Somebody asks why we use analysis data. Now, basically, we have to predict or we have to not the qualitative. So overall,
Excuse me, sir,
what you
your
see,
voice is still
tell me.
breaking.
Hello.
Your voice is still breaking.
So you are not audible.
Now it is audible.
Yes, sir.
सर रीस्टार्ट कर सकते हैं क्या मीटिंग बिकॉज योर वॉइस इज ब्रेकिंग इन बिटवीन द वीडियो
हाँ. Hello, student. Now it is audible.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now you are
Yes, sir.
audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, okay. So we process. Okay, now we can start the time series analysis. So before to conclude the time series analysis, some student asked the doubt what is the least square method. So before to go to the least square method, we have to know that the least square method and the freehand method is basically used to measure the trend analysis or to measure the time series analysis. So before to measure the analysis, you first know the what are the variables is associated at the calculation or at the time of analysis. क्या क्या है ना trend, that is trend or cyclical, seasonal, irregular. These are the variables basically used at the time of analysis of the time series data, and these variables basically based upon the additive and multiplicative. That means additive method means whenever you add all the things, then this is called additive, and whenever we go for the multiple, then this is the multiplicative models. Then now we can go for the methods, and as you know that to calculate the time series data, there are the two methods. One is the freehand methods, another is the least square methods. Freehand methods basically is a graphical methods. We have to find out the trend, or we have to find out the series in a graph presentation. This is called as a freehand method, and it is very simple and common acceptable method in the time series analysis or the trend analysis. And if you go for the example, then if to study your study material, then you know that what is the freehand method. Then this is the example of the freehand method. Here you see that these are the time series data 94 to up to 2003, and this is the trend of the food grain 35 to up to 120, and you see this is the graph up and down, up and down, up and down of the food grain in a graph. And whenever we go for the trend, then you see the trend is increasing in more trend. So this is called as a freehand methods of the analysis of the time series data, and basically it is a graph presentation of the analysis of the time series data. And whenever we go for the mathematical part, and this mathematical part is called as a least square method, or it sometimes it is called as a straight line method, or it is called as a linear regression model method. Why? As in the previous class we have already discussed regarding the regression model in a linear. So you see that in a linear trend, the data is in a sequence, and data is basically based upon the straight line. So that this is called as a straight line model or straight line methods. In the straight line methods, what the student exactly want to do, now they go for the regression model. So as you in the previous class we have already discussed regarding the how to frame the regression model, and before to frame the regression model, the student should have to know that what is the dependent and what is the independent variable. As for the dependent and independent variables, we have to develop the model, and as per the develop of the model, then we have to go for the analysis and put formula, get the value. You see over here, this is one type of example is given over here, 98 to 2004, and this is the variables is given, and this is the time is given. Then we have to, and this is the straight line method of equation. So this is the equation to find out the least square method, and as per the equation basis we have to find out the value. So A is equal to sigma y by n, that is sigma xy divided by sigma x square. So as per this value, then we have to compute the what is the value of this equation. Then the value of equation is A is equal to, find out is the 87, and B is equal to 4.8. So this is the equation, and whenever we present this equation in a straight line method or in a straight line linear method, though this is called as a least square method. This is called an least square method. So overall, if you go for the discussion, then you see your time series analysis basically, and most important part is these methods, and all other is a theoretical part. What is time series? What is the component of the time series? What is the D component of the time series analysis? Then you can go for the freehand or least square method. So least square method, you have before you utilize the adoption of the or implementation of the least square method, you have to clear the concept of the regression model, because this is related with the regression model. And if you clear the regression model, then it is easy to know that how the least square method is used to calculate the time series analysis data or the time series interval analysis of the data. So this is called an time series analysis. Any doubt of the students in this topic? So overall, this is the frame, or this is the topic is covering in the time series analysis. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay.
सर वो जो
Then
अभी आप
now,
क्वेश्चन दिखा रहे थे सर
हाँ,
ली स्क्वायर की, सर उसमें वो जो एक्स वाई माइनस में कैलकुलेट करके थे वो कहाँ से आए सर?
नहीं तो इसीलिए have you gone through the regression model? जो प्रीवियस
सर
क्लास
कल
में मैं पढ़ाया था, कल मैं
Yes.
बताया था रिग्रेशन मॉडल, इसी को सपोज इसलिए बताया ना, सपोज इफ यू गो टू द कॉन्सेप्ट पार्ट ऑफ द रिग्रेशन
Sir,
मॉडल,
can you repeat regression method once again?
because I'll try to discuss in the regression model in the end of the class, because first my objective is to finish the syllabus, because as you know that today is the last class.
Sir, please, probability.
I'll go for one by one. I go for the one by जो importance है वही मैं डिस्कशन कर रहा हूँ. जैसे तुम लोग अटेंड करेंगे एग्जाम में, जो
Okay, sir.
मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट है, जो टॉपिक है, दैट विल डिस्कस ओवर हियर. So now we can go for the most important part in the
Sir, can you send us? Can you share us important questions?
Definitely, I will send to wait. First finish the class, then at the end of the class, I will go for the discuss
Okay,
whole
sir.
of the topics. Then I will give the notes. Don't worry for that. Okay, you just listen what I am discussing in the class. Then we can go for the most important part in the research analysis. This is the your unit 15 and unit 16. This is the most important part in all the research methodology. This is called an test of the hypothesis. Hypothesis को आप कैसे टेस्टिंग करेंगे, तो इसीलिए देखेंगे आपका यूनिट 15 and unit 16 is based upon the test of the hypothesis. So as you know that, and these are the basic topic is covering over this test of the hypothesis. And before we start the discussion of the points, then you know that, and already we have to discuss in the chapter 2 or chapter 3 what is the hypothesis. So as you know that the hypothesis is nothing, it is called an certain assumptions. So basically it is a random sample from the population with a view to knowing the characteristics, and basically it is called as an parameters. And if the mu donate the population, that means population is donated as a mu, then we intend to make a guess about the basis of the random sample, and this is called an estimation. एक एग्जांपल दे रहा हूं, then one may be interested to know the average income of the population living in the city of the Delhi. Then this is called as a population, and we have to go for the estimate average income part of the people. Then again, the hypothesis testing is a statistical method that is used to making the statistical decision using the experimental data. It is a statistical techniques used to making the statistical decision. जब आप कुछ decision have to taken, then you have to go for testing, and the basic assumptions. So that's why the student should have to clear in the mind, it is a assumption. What assumption? That make about the population of the parameters. That means out of the population we have to take certain assumptions So this is called as a hypothesis, and whenever we use the statistical tools to know the whether the hypothesis is accepted or rejected, so this is called an hypothesis testing. Now before we can go hypothesis testing, we must have to know these are the terms basically used in the hypothesis testing. क्या क्या है terms? Now null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, level of significance, type 1 error, type 2 error, type then power, then one tail and two tail test, and these are the very conceptual points in related to the hypothesis testing. So as you know that null hypothesis क्या है? The null hypothesis is the hypothesis assume that observation is due to one chance of factors. The null hypothesis basically denoted as a H0 is equal to mu1 is equal to mu2 when show there is a no difference between, this means there is a no difference between the two population mean. That means there is a no differences between the population mean. This is called an null hypothesis. Then what is the alternative? Now alternative just opposite of the null hypothesis. The alternative hypothesis show the observation are the result of the real effect. That means what actually really arises, that when we observe, this is called as an alternative hypothesis. And ये जो दोनों hypothesis है basically null and alternative hypothesis, जब उसको आप accept और reject करेंगे, so this is called as a level of significance. So that's why level of significance, which is we accept or reject the null hypothesis through the level of significance, whether you accept or whether you reject the null hypothesis, that we have to determine over here. 100% accuracy is not possible for the accepting or rejecting the hypothesis. So we therefore select the level of significance is usually 5%. Then what is type 1 error and type 2 error? Then you see type 1 error क्या है? Now we reject the null hypothesis. The hypothesis was the true, and the type 1 error is denoted as a alpha. The hypothesis testing the normal curve that shows the critical region is called the alpha region. Then type 2 error we will discuss in the laboratory in the next chapter. Then type 2 error, when we accept the null hypothesis but it is a false, means the false that means the information or the data is false, but we accepted this type of error. This type of error is called as a type 2 error, and basically it is dominated by the beta. Means it is type 1 is the dominated by the alpha and it is the beta. Then P means that means power means the probability of the acceptance. How that means usually known as a probability of correctly accepting the null hypothesis. That means null hypothesis को हम accept जब करेंगे, this is called an probability or power of the acceptance. And basically 1 minus beta is called an power of analysis. 1 minus beta is called an power of analysis. Then one tail two tail test क्या है? Now that means all the things in related to the hypothesis testing is based upon the null and alternative, and this null and alternative hypothesis testing basically based upon the two tail test and the one tail test. The two tail test is called as a when a statistical hypothesis is one value, which is H0 is equal to mu is equal to m2. It is called, that means when the hypothesis is based upon the one value, this is called as a one tail test. When the statistical assumed less than or greater than the value, it is called an two test. Then point estimation and standard error. What is the point estimation? Now it is a simple term. Any statistic can be point estimation. A statistic is an estimator of the some parameter in a population. For example, the sample statistical deviation is a point estimation of the population of the standard deviation, or sample mean is a point estimation of the population of the mean. So that means what the point estimation? Point estimation means certain type of average that we must have to calculated from the population. So इसीलिए suppose I am giving an example. Suppose mean. So sample mean is a point estimation for the population of the mean. Then the that means sample variances is a point estimation of the population of the variances. So overall, suppose somebody asks what is point estimation? The point estimation is nothing out of population. If you go for the any standard deviation or mean or variances, then this is called an point of estimation. And so the point of estimation, one type of estimate. That means it is a one type of estimate, a single number which is used as an estimate of the unknown population parameter. That means whenever we go for the of the estimate from the population, that this is as a point of estimation. And this point of estimation may be the your standard deviation, maybe your mean, maybe your variances. Suppose if you go for the mean, then to find the mean is called as a point of estimation of the population of the mean. Means whole total of the from the whole total of the population, we have to calculate the what is the mean value of the sample. So the mean value is now it's as a point of estimation of the population. Suppose if you can go find out the standard deviation out of the total population, then standard deviation is called as a point of estimation. And whenever we go for the calculation of variances out of the total population, then variances is called as a point of estimation. Then again is why the standard error. As you know, see over here, now standard error क्या है? Now standard error, basically standard error is a measure how disperse of the sample mean from the population means. Means क्या है? ना difference between the mean from the population mean, कितना गैप आ रहा है किस किस का बीच में, ना population mean से and general mean, जो that is called as in sample mean. Sample mean से population mean का जो gap है, this gap basically called as a standard error. Suppose कुछ differentiate but कुछ spread और कुछ disperse और कुछ gap it arises in between the sample mean from the population mean. So this is called an standard error, and this error basically measures, and it is a standard error is defined as a standard deviation. How to find out? The standard error basically find out by the standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. So this is the formula to find out the standard error or to measure the standard error. So over the concept, the what is the standard error? The standard error is nothing, it is the gap between the actual mean from the total population mean. That means it is a gap or it is a disperse, it is a spread in between the actual and some population. And whenever we go for the calculate or whenever we go for the measure over it, then what is the formula? The standard error is equal to standard deviation divided by the root square of the sample size. Jitna sample size, that means n is the frequency. Then again the question, how do you find out the standard error? हम standard error कैसे find out करेंगे? First is to calculate the mean. That means mean value हम calculation करेंगे. Each measure the deviation from the mean. Then mean calculation करने के बाद, then we have to calculate the each measurement of the deviation from the actual mean. Remove the negative by squaring each deviation from the mean. Then we have to go for the remove the negative part. Remove the negative part, then we have to squaring the value. Then sum of the square deviation divided by the total number n minus 1, then this is provide the standard deviation. Divide the standard deviation by the square root of the n, the result is called as a standard error. What I have already discussed in this. Then to plot a single standard error as a plus or minus range, that means mean value plus or minus standard error, subtract the standard error from the each mean from the lower bound, then add the standard error to the mean of the upper end. So that means overall देखेंगे तो Here is nothing. It is just like called as to find out the gap in between the mean, means sample mean, from the population mean. Then again we can go for the what is population parameter, what is the sample statistic parameter. If you go for this notes or statistics, then you can know it. We are not go for the spend the time over here. Then it is a very basic concept related with the population parameter and the sample statistic parameters. Now we can go for the what standard error tell us. Suppose we can study the standard error, then what standard errors basically tells, what the tells now how accurate the mean of any given sample from the population is likely to compare to the true population mean. Means standard error basically find out or basically tells us how far our gap is more accurate from the given simple value, simple mean from the population mean. When the standard errors are increased, the standard error increase, that means means are the more spread out and it became more likely to giving the mean as a inaccuracy represent in the true population sense. If the gap is more, then that means mean is more spread and the value or the data what we go for the analysis is the inaccurate. That means our analysis is the not the correct from the true population, or it is called as an from the population of the mean. So overall, what the standard error basically give the researcher basically find out if the gap is more, then the mean value is more spread and the data accuracy is not the correct and the analysis is not the giving the true value or giving the result basically is not the give accurate in the analysis. For example, I am giving over here how to calculate the standard error. Now these are the players 1 to 13 and these are the heights. Then calculate the standard error. So as you know that whenever we calculate the standard error, the formula is standard deviation divided by square root of the n sample. So now here n is the 13. Now we can find out the first we calculate the standard deviation. Now we can go for the this standard deviation. This is the standard deviation. Then standard deviation by n. Then in the standard deviation by n, then we have to find out this and then we can find out the value of the standard error is the 0.69 inch. So that means standard error, that means the gap in between the mean value, that means sample mean to population mean is 0.69. So this is called as a standard error, and it's very simple to calculate the standard error by remembering this formula, standard deviation by root of the that means root square of the n sample. Then again the point discussion over here, what is the that means interval estimation, confidence limit, then another part is confidence coefficient. This is the three concept or three terms is related with the hypothesis testing. Then what is the interval estimate? Now interval estimate is the use of the sample data to calculate the interval of the position value of the unknown population. That means some of the unknown population, say whenever we calculate the interval, that means sample data to calculate the interval position, then this is called this is called as a interval estimation. An interval estimation could always be specified by the two value. First is lower value, another is the upper value, within which the parameters. This is known as the interval estimation. So that means in previous class we have already discussed regarding the continuous series. Whenever we calculate the mean, median, mode or standard deviation, then as you know that there is a certain interval in the series. This interval, that means whenever you calculate this interval, then this is called an interval estimation. An interval estimation is a statistic, the evaluation of the parameters. For example, the mean means average of the population by computing the interval or range within the parameter is most likely to be located. That means it is a estimation of the interval in a continuous process of the average. Then again is the confidence limit. What is confidence limit? Now, if you go for the page number 316, then you can also clear what is the interval estimation. 316. Interval estimation. You see over here. Now, what the interval estimation? Now, interval estimation could always be specified two values in the lower value and upper value. So that means if you remember the continuous series, the series when suppose take an example of the series is based upon the 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. So it is a interval series, and this is based upon the two value. One is the lower limit and another is the upper limit, or lower value and upper value. And within the parameter, means parameter क्या है ना, interval is the 10 10 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. This is the 10 10 10. So this type of calculation or this type of process is called as a interval estimation. So that's why the interval estimation is one type of techniques is used at the time of hypothesis testing. Then confidence limit. What is confidence limit? As you know that whenever we go for the testing of the hypothesis in the null hypothesis, then we know that what should be the confidence limit or confidence level. Now, as per the confidence limit are the number of the upper and lower end of the confidence interval. For example, if your mean is 7.4 with the confidence limit of 5.4 and 7.4, your confidence interval is 5.4 to 9.4. The most populous, the most people use 95 is a confidence. That means is a standing rule. The 95% is basically taken into consideration as a confidence limit in the research analysis. The confidence limits are the maximum and minimum value breaking in the statistic of the interest. That means confidence limit is a maximum and minimum value of the statistical series or statistical interest. So in this way, the confidence interval, as you know, the confidence interval basically based upon the level of interval is 95% or 99%. 95% of confidence interval is a range of the value that we can find out 95 certain constant in the true mean of the population. But whenever we go for the this diagram, you see over here, this is the 95% of the confidence level. Another 5% is the lower level and the upper level. 0.5, 0.5 now distributed equally. So this is called as a confidential interval. So that means lower limit is a 0.025 and upper limit is 0.025, and this is the confidential level or significance level, or it is called as a confidential limit. Then confidential interval formula. Then how to find out this confidential interval? And this is the formula to find out the confidential interval. Now we can go for the confidential coefficient. Now, confidential coefficient or coefficient level is a measure of accuracy or reliability of the statistical test. So that means your statistical, what the statistical test used, that is accurate or reliable, that we can find out if we use the confidence coefficient. Suppose we use the regression analysis, you use the standard deviation. So how far the regression analysis and standard deviation is reliable or accuracy in the analysis of the research, that we can find out through the confidence coefficient. And a percentage, usually 95%, that reflects the degree of certainty, that is the true value within the confidential interval. This is the minimum probability of not rejecting. That means 95% of the level of confidence is taken into consideration at the time of measuring or at the time of find out the accuracy or reliability of the statistical test. So that's why this is the graph I am giving over here. The probability is the 0.95. What the previous slide already showed. This is the probability of 0.205 and probability of 0.2. This is the lower limit and upper limit. The confidential level is 0.95. So that means it is that means suppose it is within this, then it is the data is more accurate and reliability. Data is more accurate and reliability through this test. Then again we can go for the testing of the hypothesis. जब हम टेस्ट hypothesis testing करने के लिए जाएंगे, then what are the steps should the researcher taken into consideration that should be taken in the part. That means how we can go for the testing of the hypothesis. Now hypothesis is an assumption about the population. That means total population ka this is the assumption from the total population first to taken into consideration. Second, it is a statement about the population that may or may not be the true. What we already taken into consideration that must have to taken in that may be the true or may not. Then hypothesis testing aim to make the statistical conclusion about the accepting or not, that means rejecting of the hypothesis. The main objective is hypothesis testing. What the hypothesis you have taken, that means null or alternative, that is accepted or rejected, that will be taken into consideration. This is the main objectives of the hypothesis testing. And whenever we process for the hypothesis testing, we definitely go for the step by step. First step is select the hypothesis, then criteria for the decision, set the decision, compute the statistical, that means use the statistical tools, then make the decision. This is the simple process before we go for the test the hypothesis. Then hypothesis testing is a statistical test based upon the two hypotheses. As you know that hypothesis is a null hypothesis and is the alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis means A0 always assume that there is no significant difference within the specific population. So that means it is always in the negative sign. That means there is no significant difference in the population, which is called as a null hypothesis. Alternative is just opposite of the null. That means H1 is always opposite of the H0. That means it is significant. Null hypothesis always assume that there is no significance of the variables. जो variables आप लेंगे, that means consider for the analysis. And alternative is there is the that means the variable is the significant in the in the time of calculation of the analysis. Then whenever we go for the analysis of the null and alternative, and this is based upon the level of significance. We have already discussed the level of significance. Basically it's considered as a 95%, or basically considered as a 95% is a level of significance. So the significance level is probability of the rejecting the null hypothesis. Then the main objective of the level of significance is whether the null hypothesis is accept or reject. That we can find out from the level of significance. For example, a significance level is 0.05. That means 5% of the risk of concluding. That is the difference exists when there is a no actual evidence. So overall जब जाएंगे तो देखेंगे level of significance basically find out whether we accept or reject the null hypothesis. That we can find out through the level of significance. Then already we have to discuss in the first slide regarding the type 1, type 2 error and power of the test. Then what is type 1, type 2 error? It's very simple. I'm giving two example over here. Take an example. What is the type 1 error? If we reject, then when it is true, that means एक example दिया है. In other words, did not kill his wife but was found as the guilty and punished. That means punished for the crime. He did not really commit. So that means that's why this type of error is called as a type 1 error. Means if we reject when it is true, means that you are not doing any, that means illegal things, but you are the punished. So this type of error is called as a type 1 error. But type 2 error means we fall in the rejection when it is the false. Means ये false है but इसको आप reject कर रहा है. So in other words, it means that kill his wife but was found not guilty and not punished. So this type of error is called a type 2 error. So if you go for the type 1 and type 2 error, then you see over here in a simple, that means it is a false positive, but we reject. So that's why type 1 error occurs if an investigator reject a null hypothesis that is actually true in the population. Means it is true but we reject. So this type of error is called as a type 1 error, or it is arises in the false positive and just reverse in the type 2 error. This is called false negative. Means can only occur if the null hypothesis is false. If the null hypothesis is false, then the probability of the type 2 error is called as an beta. This is called an beta, and type 1 is basically denoted as a alpha. So type 1 and type 2 error basically used at the time of testing of the hypothesis. So it's easy to remember. Type 1 is the false positive, type 2 is the false negative. So that's why I'm giving one example how to remember the type 1 and type 2 error. Means we reject the hypothesis, but it is actually in the true in the population. So this is called as a type 1 and another is the type 2 error. And over here, which error is that means which error is more worse in the calculation of the type 1 type. And if you go for this one, the natural type 1 error is the more dangerous than the type 2 error, because one is not involved in the activities but it's found and found him and punished him. So that means he's not involved in the activities, but as per the false commitment, then they punished over it. So this type of error, that's why type 1 error, on the other hand, an error in every sense in the word. In conclusion is drawn that null hypothesis is false when in the fact it is the true. Means it is true but is treated as a false. So that the type 1 error generally is called as a more serious than the type 2 error. So type 1 error is basically worse than the type 2 error. So this is the one of the graph we have to over here. Means a null hypothesis rejected, and that means null hypothesis reject कब करेंगे ना जब वो correct है. This type of error is called an type error. Null hypothesis is not, that means it is true but it is correct and it is reject, fall to the reject. This is called an type 2 error. Then what do you mean by the power of test? In statistics, the power of test is defined as the probability that reject of the null hypothesis when it is the false. It is influenced by the significance level or size of the sample or data available. And type of statistical test, whether that means one tail or two tail, वो discussion हम करेंगे. One tail क्या है, two tail क्या है. That means power of testing means whether your null hypothesis is accepted or rejected through the significant level or size of sample. This is called as a power of test. And this power of test, that is called basically it is called an probability test. Whether your hypothesis is accept or reject, that we can find out if we can go for the power of test, and basically it is called an p value. So p value means probability value. The stronger the evidence that we should reject the null hypothesis. If p value is statistically significant, it indicates strong evidence against the null hypothesis. As there is less than the 5% probability, the null hypothesis is the correct. So basically p value is find out whether that means strong evidence or proof. If you reject the null hypothesis, then we can go for the testing it. It accurate, or that means it is accepted or rejected. That we can find out from the p value. Then now the question is one tail and two tail kya hai? Now one tail test and two tail test and used at the time of after detecting the type 1 or type 2 error in the hypothesis testing. So 110 tail test, a test of statistical hypothesis where the region is rejection is only one side of the sampling distribution. जब आप one of the sampling distribution को taken into consideration and reject the hypothesis, then that's why name is called as an one tail test. Means you consider the one side of the sample and give your views regarding the rejection of the hypothesis. So this type of statistical test is called as a one tail test. As for the one tail, as for the two tail, so indicate as a, if you consider the one side of the sampling, it is called as an one tail. If you consider the two side of the sampling, then this is called an two tail. Then one tail test is a statistical test in which the critical area of distribution of one side so that it is either greater than or less than the certain value, but not the both. If the sample being tested falls into the one side of the critical area, the alternative hypothesis will be accepted instead of null hypothesis. For example, suppose the null hypothesis state that the mean is less than or equal to 10. So alternatively, the alternative hypothesis could be that the mean is greater than the 10. So this is the example of the one tail test. That means overall, suppose आप concept को जाएंगे, तो one tail test basically reject the hypothesis by considering the one side of the sampling distribution. So this is called as a one tail test. And when we can go for the two tail, now two tail test is a method in which critical area of the distribution of the two side and the test whether the sample is greater than or less than the certain range of the value. That means we consider the two side and test it whether the, that means null hypothesis testing and testing the significant, and the test of the statistical hypothesis where the region of the rejection is on the both side of the sampling distribution is called an two test. That means when we reject the null hypothesis by considering the two side of the sample distribution, this is called as a two tail test. And the two tail test will test both if the mean is significantly greater than the x and if the mean is the significantly less than the x. The mean is considered significant difference from the x if the test statistic is in the top of the 2.5 or bottom of the 2.5 of its probability distribution, resulting is the p value less than the 0.05. So what you see over here, now if we reject the null hypothesis by considering the one side of the sampling distribution, then this is called as an one tail. And whenever we reject the null hypothesis by considering the two side of the sampling distribution, this is called as an two tail. And now we can go for the steps of the testing of the hypothesis. जब hypothesis आप testing करने के लिए जाएंगे, we have to go for the 7 steps. First is go state the null hypothesis. Second is alternative hypothesis. Set the alpha. Alpha means the error. You first find out the error. Is a type 1 or type 2 error. So accordingly, type 1, type 2 error, then we can go for the two tail or one tail, that means one tail or two tail test, collect the data, calculate the test statistical, then reject or accept. Then based upon the reject and accept and test of the statistic and reject and accept, then we can go for the conclusion of the about the null hypothesis. So this is the very crucial at the time of calculation or at the time of testing of the hypothesis. So as you know that before testing we must have to, and this is the preliminary stage of the research. Whenever we go for the any research or any small project, then we have to frame our research project in this way. First we have to go for the hypothesis, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, then set the null and hypothesis in the basis of error basis में उसको set करना है. Then after error basis में set करने के बाद then we can go for the collect the जो population data है, जो population है वही population से we have to collect the sample, then calculate the test means one tail को जाएंगे ना two tail को जाएंगे, then according the one and two tail then we accept or reject the null hypothesis. According to this then we can go for the conclusion. So this is called as a testing of the hypothesis. Now whenever we go for the testing of the hypothesis, we basically in your research we can go for the Z test and or we can go for the T test. And Z test and T test basically depends upon the population or depends upon the number of size or number of the sample size. And basically Z test is a statistical test used to determine whether two population mean are different when the variance are known and the sample size is the large. So at that time we have to calculate the Z test. It is a formula base. Then we have to calculate the Z test. Now Z test कब calculation करेंगे? Now when the two population mean are different, that means the population mean is different when the variance are known and the same sample size is the large. And the Z statistic or Z score is a number representing how many standard deviation from the above or below of the mean population of a score derived from the Z test. And Z test in any statistical hypothesis used to determine how to determine a two sample mean from the different variation known and the sample size basically less greater than or equal to 30. जहाँ पर आपका sample size 30 or more, then we can use the Z test. And the formula to find out the Z test, that is the formula mean minus population divided by standard deviation root over the n. So this is the formula for the Z test. We have to find out the Z test value whenever we using this test. Then next part is interpretation. Result तो आ जाएगा by putting the first find out the mean value in the variables, then population mean, then put the formula for the standard deviation. The n is the number of observation already given in the question. So accordingly you have to find out the result. Then after the result, then most important part is interpretation of the result. What the result basically giving in the analysis. Result आपको क्या बोल रहा है वो analysis का ऊपर ना. The value of the Z score tell us how many standard deviation you are away from the mean. Means कितना disperse और gap है standard deviation from the actual mean. If the Z score is equal to 0, it is on the mean. If the positive Z score indicating raw score in higher than the mean average. For example, if the Z score is equal to +1, it is 1 stand for the standard deviation above the mean value. And positive Z score indicate the raw score in higher than the mean average. For example, if a Z is equal to plus 1, it is a standard deviation from the above mean, and if the negative Z score shows that so the mean of the average. For example, if the Z score is equal to -2, it is that means it is 2 standard deviation below the mean. So see over here, now Z test is used. First is Z test is used if the population is more than the that means if the sample size is more than the more or equal to 30. That means Z test basically used when the sample is more, then we have to use the Z test to know the that means to whether you accept or reject the null hypothesis. So to accept and reject the null hypothesis, this is the formula of the Z test. Then according this formula, you have to find out the what is the value of your analysis in or what is the value of your hypothesis test in this putting the value. Then you get test. Another part is another t test. Now t test का क्या है ना, large sample and small sample. Large sample is a greater than 30 is known as a large sample. As large sample, distribution of the statistic knowledge Z test use होता है जो अभी डिस्कस किया है. The study of the sample distribution of the statistic for the large sample is known as a large sample theory. But if you go for the small sample, to whom we can call it as a small sample, the small sample is less than 30 is known as a small sample, and a small sample, a statistical sample of such a small n that is impossible to apply to all its sample classical formula that are only if it is within the 5 to 30. User totally a size of the common is usually studied. The t test is necessary for the small sample. That small sample के लिए it is called an t test, and for a large sample it is called as an Z test. And for the small sample, the sampling distribution are T or F or chi-square test or distribution. So suppose somebody asks the question, what is the minimum size of the sample? The minimum size of the sample is the 100. Most of the statisticians agree that the minimum sample size to be get any kind of the meaningful result, that is 100. If the population is less than the 100, then need to survey all the things. That means we must have to go for the population of the 100, then we can go for the analysis of the data by taking the 100 population size. That means sample size should be minimum 100, then your research is considered as a appropriate research in the analysis part. Then this is the formula of the t test. Then here the formula is Z test, and this is the formula for the t test. This is the formula for the t test, and this t test basically based upon the independent sample, and basically another is the dependent sample. What is the independent sample and dependent sample? Now independent sample t test comprise the mean of two independent group of order to determine whether the statistical evidence that are the associated in the population, that independent sample of T is a parameter of the test. This test is also known as independent test. In independent test, also called as a two sample test, T test, means the sample size is based upon the two, then it is called as an independent sample. The independent sample test, or it is called as a student t test, or it is called an student t test. That means t test for independent sample is called as a student t test, and it is based upon the two independent group or two independent variables to calculate the t test in a independent sample. Then what is the formula to find out the independent sample? Now let's B and A and B is a two sample or two group. A means mean value of A and mean value of B represent the mean value of a group A and B. Respectively, the NA and NB is represent the size of the group A and group B. Then T test, that means T test is equal to X bar 1 means group 1, group 2, S square means standard deviation 1, standard deviation 2 square, then N1 group 1, group 2. So this is the formula to find out the independent test testing, independent T test testing. Then another is the dependent sample by dependent test. Now dependent T test comprise with the mean of two related group of the determination, means same, that is this is called an two groups but related. Whenever we go for the calculation of the T test value of this type of group, then this is called as a dependent sample or dependent T test group. Whether this is the statistical significance of the difference between these means. The dependent sample occur when you have two samples that do affect one another, means one suppose increase, another को affect करेगा. This type of sample basically consider for the T test of the dependent. One is dependent with the another. So this type, at this type of discussion, we have to use the T test for the calculation of the value. So the formula of this dependent test. So this is the formula to calculate of the dependent test. So overall, suppose हम discussion करेंगे hypothesis testing. So it's nothing. First, we develop the hypothesis, means null and alternative. Secondly, find out the types of error. Thirdly, we have to find out the it is based upon the two tail or one tail. Then we can use the hypothesis. This is based upon the test. Than more or equal to 30, then we have to calculate the Z test. If the sample is less than the 30, then we can go for the T test. And from this T test and Z test, this is the formula. It's very simple formula for the Z test, and this is the formula for the T test. And when we pick the T, there is another question whether it is an independent sample or whether it is a dependent sample. Now, dependent sample means two variables, basically one, that means two samples or two variables do affected with another. Means if one variable is affected, then another variable is also changed. So this type of analysis is based upon the dependent T test analysis. And whenever we can go for the these two, but is a different. These are two sample, but is a independent. That's why name is called as independent. If one is changed, another is not affected, or it is not, another is not the taken into consideration. So this type of test is called an T test, independent sample, and basically it is also called as an test. So any doubt of the students? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Clear. So I'll take the 5 minutes break. Then after that, I will start the class of the other. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, guys.